Welcome back to the NA Hub coverage of the International 4 qualifiers. We're in the SEA region, and Arrow leads our upper bracket finals 1-0, and to be honest, it really wasn't even close.
Yeah, it was really one side. I mean, Arrow just, not only did they outdraft them, the lanes were just so strongly in their favor. There was really nothing MVP could do unless they just completely did some weird lanes and just caught Arrow completely off guard. So I have to give the whole entire game in every possible sense to Arrow.
Yeah, honestly, I think most of us, myself, and imagine me being wrong, it happens, but I think we all kind of thought it would be a little bit more competitive in Game 1, but still some Dota to be played. Game 2, the draft is underway, and we'll jump right into it now. Once again, this is the North American Hub, presented by Monster Energy. Arrow leading the series 1-0 and 1 win away from securing themselves a slot in Seattle. All things forgotten for them. They'll be going for sure. MVP Phoenix, if they drop this game, still has a chance to fight out of the lower bracket. We'll, of course, cover that towards the end of this if they do end up losing. The draft, Nature's Prophet and Mirana for Arrow. We'll see MVP Phoenix go ahead and grab themselves a Death Prophet and a Treant Protector.
Yeah, but looking at the bans, same exact bans as last game. You know what? MVP doesn't want to play against DDC's Invoker, and they don't want to play against Doom at all in general. And they do first pick this Tree again, which, of course, Tree's an amazing hero, but a lot of people have said, if you don't play with this hero a lot, and if you don't know how to play this hero perfectly, he can either be your make or break.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't really agree with just picking it just because, everybody else picks it. I don't think that's a good mentality ever.
Yep.
And then we do see Arrow Gaming just first two, right after that Treant Protector's pick, they pick the Furin and the Mirana. So they know that what MVP's going to go for. They know that they're going to go for a Furin again right after that because that's what they did the last game.
Yep.
And MVP decides to, anyway, go for Death Prophet, which... I mean, in the first two, you're giving away so much by picking that Death Prophet.
Exactly.
There's not many places where that guy can lane. Where is the Death Prophet going to go? Okay, he can go in the short lane, but he's pretty awful in the short lane. His only real big position is that mid lane, so you can abuse it really hard by that. You can end up picking just like an OD, and just he can lane against it, or they can end up doing so many other things that if they want to. And you can already tell what MVP is going to go for. They want to push towers, they want to just end the game as quick as possible and try to do that because they're scared. It really just seems like they're scared of Arrow at this point.
Honestly, scared maybe, but I just see it as them knowing the odds and knowing, you know what, a dice roll really is our best chance against this team. We know they're above our level right now. Doesn't mean that, if we do make it to TI, we're not going to have time to practice and maybe get to that level, but today that's not the case. Instead, why don't we give ourselves the best opportunity to make as big a game as we possibly can? But I'm right there with you. I mean, what are the chances of the Death Prophet being banned? Why now? Why the first two?
I would never see a reason for it, honestly. You give away everything, and Arrow is just going to pick Chen.
Yep.
Which is a little weird, actually.
Honestly, I don't mind it, because think about what Death Prophet needs to really be effective. Levels, time, a little bit of farm, etc. Well, now you've got a Chen, a Prophet, and a Mirana, three of the most aggressive heroes no matter where you lane them. You can honestly do anything with them, obviously. Chen a little bit more locked down there, but it doesn't matter. If they roam the Chen and the Nature's Prophet is level 2, he's going to be able to come in and be a +1, and that's an automatic kill. And it doesn't matter what they do against the Death Prophet. Like you said, they can even pick something if they can anticipate the lanes accurately. Just go, yeah, we're just going to pick an OD and you're going to be completely useless, and we'll kill you whenever we feel like it because you have no escape, and you're going to have Chen pressuring you. You're going to have a lot of pressure in that lane from creeps, even if Chen's not around, and we have a +1 at any given moment. And once Mirana's level 6, she can simply Moonlight Shadow, and you have to deal with having detection all game when you're already poor and broke if you're losing your lanes as badly as you did in Game 1. So it just seems very methodical from Arrow and MVP. I guess, I mean, we still have draft to talk about, but it's so hard to not sound fatalistic based on how good and how sharp Arrow looked in Game 1.
Yeah, and overall, we just know Arrow just drafted so well last game. They knew how to lane as well. And the way MVP drafted already, I mean, okay, it's only 2 heroes, sure. But like I was saying before, Death Prophet can't really go too many places, and you can really just punish a team if they pick that within the first 2. If you're gonna pick a Death Prophet, you want to know what mid hero you're gonna be playing against, and you want to be able to punish it. Like Death Prophet is an amazing hero versus like these Lycan mids, Naga mids, stuff like this, because this hero excels versus these melee heroes. So I mean, I don't really agree with the way MVP is trying to approach this already, and they do end up banning a Shadow Demon and an AA. So I guess they don't want to deal with. I just don't understand. I don't really understand why. I understand the Shadow Demon ban obviously because of the Potom, but the AA ban, is that just because the Furin ulti? They're that scared of the global presence? I mean, that hero, we have seen him fall off a lot, and we do see a Witch Doctor come up for MVP. So now, even more so, you see them trying to ball up and trying to go for this 5-man push down heroes because the heal on Witch Doctor is really overlooked. Cask, of course, is extremely powerful. Everybody loves, look at it go. It just bounces all over the place. It goes nuts, and the ulti is extremely powerful later on if you get that Aghanim Scepter. You're basically a carry on a support. But they're going to be locked into this, and I mean, a lot of people also actually, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna take it back a little bit because Witch Doctor Cask is very good versus Chen creeps.
Oh,
so
super
maybe
good.
that is a little bit what they're trying to go through. So they're trying to defend it a little bit. But of course, the heal is very, very good with this push type lineup plus Treant. But looking at these two heroes, Treant and Witch Doctor, they're very good in aggressive trialing if they want to do this. But if they don't, these two heroes can't move.
Yep. Honestly, aggressive trialing is what would seem to make the most sense based on what Arrow's already shown you. You know, pretty surely it's going to be the Nature's Prophet in an off lane or at least a solo lane position. Chen needs to be in the jungle. So regardless of wherever the other two go, Mirana, supposing she is going to be a core and not a mid, if she ends up being a farming carry, she'll have +1 support. And maybe you have a chance to bully that with a Train and a Witch Doctor and a +1. I mean, Chen does take some time, and it does end up taking away from his effectiveness to pressure other lanes. So, I mean, it's... Like, I'm just trying to go through my head what, you know, where MVP Phoenix could go with this, but it just feels so all in. And even though, you know, we just finished saying dice roll might be their best chance, you know, there's a way, like, if you go to a roulette wheel, you don't bet on green, okay? You bet on red or black. So I feel like maybe they're not giving themselves the best possible opportunity with such a narrow draft. And like you said, a transparent draft. You know exactly what's coming.
And we have seen a lot of teams do this Treant Witch Doctor aggressive, so... Even if they decide to do this and Arrow predicts it, they can just put one hero up there. They can put a Mirana up there.
Right.
These heroes can push the tower decently well, but they can't really just take it down right away. And now, we do see DDZ's Tinker being picked up right away. And another thing that I was going to say is that what they can do with the Chen is if they do have this Fear in off lane, the Chen could just go into the enemy jungle and just punish that short lane and take that tower as soon as possible, because with the Chen Cleave plus Fear and Treants, that tower is going to be decimated if you don't move people to defend it right away.
Right. And that kind of speaks to the fragility of what MVP is up to. Like you said, aggressive does make sense. It makes sense, especially with the Chen on the board. But now, I mean, just theory crafting it out. What if they end up doing something like a solo Tinker that goes March of the Machines level 1? It's like, yes, he's not going to get a ton of farm, but he will get his levels, and he'll be able to keep the tower standing for a long time while the other lanes are pressured. So
yeah, I mean, March level 1 is it's pretty weak, so you can kind of just walk through and hit the towers and stuff like that. But they need to pick a very, very strong hero that fits with this tri-lane in order for them to just be able to just bully it.
Right.
But they can Arrow can put so many different heroes. I don't know if we'll really see that Tinker going in the top lane because, I mean, DDZ is the mid.
Oh, exactly.
And he loves his Tinker. And we do see a Tidehunter picked up by MVP. So, yeah, this is a really early game draft. Like, right now, they have 0 core. They have, 0 carry. They have a Death Prophet. Death Prophet does, of course, an immense amount of physical damage because of his ultimate, but they don't have a late game. So Arrow, right now, they have a decent amount of late game already. Tinker in the late game is absolutely monstrous. Potom is okay, but Furion also scales well. So right now they have like a semi-tri-core type of lineup with this Furion, Mirana, Tinker, and then on their last pick, they're going to go for Revenge. So now they have Auras as well. And MVP has to watch out also for a level 1 Roche at this point, because those heroes can absolutely do it.
yeah, that's an excellent point. Level 1 Roche, very much available to them if they want to take a shot at it. Still waiting to see what MVP Phoenix is going to fit into this.
They banned out the Bane too.
Yeah,
they're really scared of that Potom +1 combo, the Shadow Demon Bane and all that. So
before Death Prophet really tanks up, aside from the combo with Nightmare into Arrow, just having Fiend's Grip to lock down a Death Prophet, just hold her still, can turn that around. And they're going to go with the Slarders. So, well, that's a lot of heroes that need a lot of a good start. These are not heroes that play well from behind. Slarder needs a Blink Dagger very early. Tidehunter, even if he doesn't go Blink, who knows who they'll end up building the mech on, but it's usually going to be Blink or mech. I don't know. Like,
how curious at these lanes, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same
we
way.
saw QO playing the Nyx mid last game, and now he's playing Slardar. So I guess he's going to be doing that short lane farming Slardar, and March is going to be on the mid solo Death Prophet. But then, are they going to just put these two support heroes on the short lane with the Slardar, or are they going to send it with the Tidehunter? Because Tidehunter is extremely powerful now. That 60% reduction is insane. You do no damage. You hit him and you're like, what's happening? He doesn't even have a stat sheet. What's going on here?
Right.
Like, it's really, really overlooked. I mean, some people, of course, look at it and they're just like, it's super powerful, but 60% reduction is insane.
Moving on into the match. Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is game number 2 of the qualifiers in the SEA region. This TI4 coverage brought to you by, presented by Monster Energy here on the NA Hub. And Arrow looking to solidify their bid for a trip to Seattle, while MVP,
they're level 1 smoke by Arrow too.
Yep. Well, this is what you were talking about. They may, both teams are moving out very quickly, and it looks like a lot of pings are going out on that Roche pit. And we'll see how much attention is going to be paid there. Mirana's actually
going to do it.
Yeah,
they're going for that level 1 Roche.
Mirana's staying on the high ground, and she shoots an arrow out. And we'll connect on Roshan.
Look at the Mirana's items too. Wraithband, Clarity, Branch. So yeah, they're going for this Roshan right now. And it might actually end up working. It looks like MVP might have an idea of it if the Slardar goes for it, but they don't have their tide.
Yeah.
They don't have their tide.
Well, the Roche down to about 2/3 health already. And if they're going to try to do anything, if they have any suspicion of it,
they have no idea.
No, they don't know. They were expecting some kind of movement. At some point, this has to dawn on them. Like you said, whenever you look and you see a Nature's Prophet, you see a Marana, and most notably that Vengeance there, this has to be on your mind. And if they realize it now, it might even be too late.
Wow, look at this Venge set, too. It's beautiful. I actually have never seen a Venge set like that one, to be honest with you.
Well, that is quite nice. I love her hair.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yep, we're talking about cosmetic hair. And now that I will be spotted out.
Spots it out, but it's too late.
Oh, magic missile, and he's in trouble. The arrow, nope, not there to follow, but the sprout certainly is. There's a little bit of laser and rocket action as they got a couple of levels, and, well, we were talking about how MVP had to have a good start. Don't know that giving up a level 1 Roshan as well as First Blood on your Slarder is the best way to get a game going.
Man, and that's if I were in MVP's shoes, it's that's you give up a kill and the Roshan at the same time. So it's just getting the level 1 Roche for Arrow is huge. Yep. It's almost game winning in its own instance. But then giving up First Blood as well, MVP, it's this is gonna be so tough for them. Now DDZ is level 2, almost level 3 with an Aegis mid and his bottle and his null, and he's versus Slardar.
Yep, this is a little rough going for poor QO. Down at bottom, the trial lane has taken shape, so we can see it will be Ryson on the Witch Doctor with the tree there to help support. Heen once again going to be back on it, and the Death Prophet will be farming as a core instead of mid. Out in the off lane, they're going to have the Tide Hunter and Arrow. Like, at this point, honestly, they don't even have to do anything but just play. Just play Dota. Hit creeps because they have such an advantage.
Yeah, they actually have to do nothing because Slardar is going to get
Look at
0 mid. He's going to get 0. There's no way he can do anything versus a Tinker mid. Especially almost a level 4 Tinker at the 1 minute mark.
That's not a surprise. DDZ playing times on record here in 6.81 and 4-0. If you've seen him play it before, that does not shock anyone.
15 kills per game.
That's a lot, right?
That's quite a lot.
That's
right
a
there
lot
already.
We can actually see, a little bit of a race for the rune. And Ryson complicating matters a bit, so I guess you'll take your bright spots where you can find them. Early on, Tinker leading in CS, 7 for him, 7 for the Marana. Death Prophet's at 5, and honestly, QO's hanging. He's got 5 for himself, so not the end of the world, but still has to contend with an Aegis. And at some point, DDZ may just dive in whenever he.
Arrow top. They're going on it forever now. Top, and he's gonna go down.
Yep, QO dies, and Forev. So actually, tree's right there, and
nice
power
armor.
of living armor, little ridiculous.
Yeah, really nice armor, and of course, him leveling the Kraken Shell plus having that ring of protection instead of the Stout Shield was really, really smart by him. So he survived because of that. But that Tinker getting another kill in mid is just ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit of damage there, no follow-up.
Wow, and oh man, like it's just really on MVP to do so much now. They really just need to get kills all over the place, but they don't have the heroes for it. It's just really scary for them. Like, I don't know what MVP can really do. Like, the Witch Doctor's level 1 at this point. Tree is going to be trying to pull, but he was forced to get this Living Armor level 1 to save his Tide Hunter just now. And it's just so terrifying, because now Furon is getting a full 2 waves pushed into him, and he's going to give even more levels.
Yep.
He's going to be level 4 on this Furon at almost 3 minutes.
Jeez. I'll tell you what, since the lanes seem kind of quiet at the moment, everyone's playing so very cautiously. And yeah, actually the Tinker is maxing out lasers and rockets too, so he's going for a max damage build. Things are kind of quiet for the moment. How about we bring Fear in? Fear's sitting here watching with us. If you're in MVP shoes, like say you're MVP's captain, other than, well, that sucked, what else are you telling your team to hope you can kind of get things under control?
Well, it's really tough for them right now. Like, getting that Roche right there on top of the Tinker and him getting First Blood was actually massive, but MVP, all they can do is hope for their mid game at this point, I think. Like, they just need to get their levels, hope they can get some towers, and if they aren't going to get the towers, they're in some trouble.
And yeah, Fury ports top, and he just wants to pressure this top tower already.
Not even trying to go for the kill on the Tide. And that's smart. You know, don't even worry about it. Zone him out, let right clicks do the job, don't blow your load. Instead, just bring down the tower. Like we were talking about, just start collapsing on these tier 1s, and, you know, MVP's not going to have any room at all to get all of these heroes who, they're not super item dependent, but they're like 1 item dependent. Yeah. Blink daggers in particular. And levels. And if you can just force rotations like this, bring down early towers. Yep, now they're going to have to rotate a 3rd one in. Maybe they'll get a kill out of it. We can see Muzan moving through the secret shop. No one's pursuing out back into lane. Tide's right on him, and here's going to be QO. He lands the crush. Looks like they're going to get on the board with this, and they will. So a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel there for MVP, but now here comes the rest of Arrow. They're going to catch Tide Hunter. Tide runs right into him. Arrow's actually going to be shot wide, and Heen's right there to throw out the leech seed onto Lance. Lance has enough mana for a leap if he needs it. He's hanging on to it for the moment. And they just don't have a lot of damage. Johnny, though, oh, nice bounces, and they're going to get Johnny off of the back of that. So MVP making the best of a bad situation, and not only getting on the board, but making it a 2-0 exchange. Well played. They did lose the Tier 1 top, though.
Yeah, they very good port reactions there, but they did get some kills, but it's really not too much. And oh my god, DDZ just playing so aggressive. And that's the beauty of being able to go this laser rocket build instead of having to go March. He's going to get his bots up at 5 minutes, which is
he's 3-0.
Insane.
It's
absolutely
5
insane.
minutes, 3-0. He had an Aegis. Still has the Aegis. Hasn't even expired yet. It's gone in 60 seconds.
He's going to run in suicide for it pretty soon.
May as well. I mean, look at him. He doesn't care.
Look, there he goes. There it is.
Yep.
So confident. Absolute confidence from him because he knows his balance. He knows his balance. He really does. This Spire is, he knows what he can do. He knows the advantages that he can press. And yeah, there's no risk in going this laser rocket build at this point because of the amazing start that he has. And he's versus a melee mid, so he can just pressure him so hard. If this Slaughter steps up, he's dead.
2-3. Arrow with Tinker up fresh. And Arrow.
Oh, there. Oh, the fog.
Yep, fog might save him as well as the tree armor. Muzan was there. DDZ looking for a laser. He actually, he used vision on him again and got off the amplified damage. It does a surprising amount of damage with the help of the tower shots. So I gotta say, MVP's in a hole, and who knows if they'll have enough time to dig themselves out. They're still doing fairly well, all things considered. A little bit of high ground tower, or counter warding, I should say, for the Witch Doctor. And Arrow has DDZ very low. Now they're going to try to initiate, but Slaughter just dies immediately. They managed to make it a 2-for-1 trade, though, and Ryzen might be next. Nope, they don't have a magic missile. Thought they would. And Phoenix.
Ryzen's rich. He just got 2 levels from that, and he got, like, what? How much was it? 513 gold? So that was really well needed for the supports there. I mean, they forced the ports reaction top from MVP, so they were a little bit crippled from that, but that gold onto Ryzen was pretty nice. But yeah, looking at the gold graph already,
It's just short of 1,000 gold a minute they've generated in terms of lead.
It's about 4,000 gold total in lead for Arrow at this point. And yeah, look at him just porting it. He's got his bots already. He doesn't have rearm though, so he just got those bots too soon.
March.
Yeah, he's dead.
Not going to be able to run into that Tinker. He's a little too far ahead. Ryzen got to be sprouted up on the high ground. DDZ's rearming. Couldn't get the missiles off. No, actually he did. Yep, they're going to track him down and see how much damage. Not enough, but close. So he's sent packing with a little bit of rocket spam up his tailpipe.
This is the luxury Tinker right here.
The luxury
not having to go March at
Pub
all, and just
stomp
being able to
Tinker.
go all over the place. It's beautiful. Like you can just go around and kill people because laser max level at 6 minutes in the game, 320 pure damage. None of these heroes. That's about half of the health on any of these heroes. And yeah, Q, look at that. All of his health almost down in one shot.
Yep.
But tree armor saving his life. Fury and ulti bounced through, but I don't even know if it actually ended up clipping him.
Yep. Furon does have his Midas done, so, I mean, things just getting worse on the side of MVP, as everyone seems to be very, very rich. We can see Death Prophet has been farming well, though. She's at 42 overall CS, so, again, making the best of a bad situation. Lance is going to be spotted in the secret shop. Heen being a walking ward and keeping an eye on things as best as he can. He's going to continue to farm very aggressively, but that Furion, again, with that up. Lance being smashed by Forev. And we'll see if they try to do anything about this. But yeah, okay, let's talk about MVP and their Hail Mary that's bound to be coming soon.
Todd's getting engaged on the arrow onto Forev. He did get the armor on, but he did get arrowed, and the Starfall should be able to clean him up with the Tinker.
And Tinker's going to be there for sure.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like anytime action breaks out, DDZ as aggressive as he is, you can count on lasers and rockets showing up in about 3 seconds every single time.
And something I haven't really seen in a while is Tidurner went for Tranquil Boots. A little bit strange because, you know, that hero kind of runs in there and everything, but, I mean, the armor is nice for him. He's also got a buckler, so he bought before he died, so it's nice for him, but at the same time, he did die.
Yep.
But he's almost 6. He is almost 6.
Well, the Death Prophet push is going to have to come soon, especially, as you said, with Tide getting close to 6. And they're going to go ahead and use Moonlight Shadow to make sure Johnny stays safe. They might even collapse up here on him. And we could see Johnny...
He denies his own creep.
Yes.
The confidence.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, at this point, even if you die, like, you're going to feel pretty confident the DDZ is going to be able to make up any silly deaths you happen to give up.
And Roche should be respawning within the next 45 seconds or so.
In trouble at top. And...
Oh.
Okay. That's...
Committed the Ravage for him.
Yep. I guess really worried about the leap. And not wanting that to go. Also, Ravage is going to be on cooldown for at least a little while.
Yeah, no Gush on this Tidehunter still. A little bit strange of a build, but... I mean, they might as well expend the Ravage at this point to just try to get a kill, because they do need to catch up. And at the same time, yeah, Roche is going to be spawning very, very soon, and we do see Venge pick up this medallion very, very early. So they do want to just keep doing these Roches as much as possible. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Roches in this game if it lasts that long.
She's actually maxed for Vengeance R2, by the way. So the damage output of everyone going to be through the roof. MVP prompting a couple of reactions, hanging around a long time, got the crush off onto Lance as well as the Amp, but there's going to be a Sprout. Ryson going to be engaged upon. Here comes Death Prophet with her ulti. Let's see if that's enough to chase him away. Prophet trying to make it away. Lance going to be caught out, though. There's Hand of God to get everyone back up in fighting shape. Lance drops nonetheless. Wrath of Nature doing decent damage. DDZ doesn't have a ton of mana, so he's actually not going to be able to help out a whole lot. And that's about as good as they could have hoped for. Now let's see if they can double back in time to let the Exorcism do some damage. Now, only about a quarter time on it, so the tower could potentially, will remain standing now as DDZ's back with a full mana pool as well as a full bottle.
It's only level 1 March, though.
Yep.
So, I mean, it doesn't really do too much damage, so we'll see if they end up deciding to press the issue. And wow,
behind that,
QO was playing really aggressive there.
He has to. Like,
yeah, of course.
This is like the only chance they have is to just take the fight to them. Because if they start trying to play passively now, Arrow's just going to get further and further ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Death Prophet ulti's down now at this point, too, so Arrow's just going to go back and try to farm their game up, maybe even go for a tower push.
Couple of cooldowns. Should be, Exorcism's not the longest cooldown. It'll be back up before long, but pushing with Ravage and Exorcism and just hoping that Arrow's going to be caught flat-footed, maybe poor positioning or something else is really going to be the key here. But DDZ, every time those cooldowns are up, this is what's going to happen.
Right
Either
to
Roshan,
every time it's up.
Roshan or split push aplenty. I mean, can you imagine trying to spread the map with the lineup that MVP has against the Tinker with bots, against a Nature's Prophet and a well-farmed Shin?
Look at how fast the Rosh just dies, too.
Yep.
You can't contest something like that.
Yep.
Every 8 to 11 minutes, it's going to be a free Aegis for them, and plus all the gold, of course.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, MVP's just, they can't really get these early towers, which they really need for this Death Prophet, and he's doing okay. He's got very good, he's got the top CS, of course. His net worth, of course, is also doing pretty decently. He's at 4,000, but it's just not really enough. This hero, he was short lane, so he didn't even get to pressure the tower too much at all. That bottom tower, it is about half health, but they didn't get to take it down early enough because the Fury was just so overleveled. He was able to just bully them, and they ended up forcing so many ports top. The supports weren't able to be there for them.
Like you said, 4K net worth it doesn't sound that bad till you consider the fact that Shen's at 3,500.
Yeah.
And everyone on Arrow is well above that mark. 43 and 43 for Prophet and Marana, as well as DDZ, who is taking an ancient stack and extending his lead even more. Now they're going to push the tier 1 mid. But problem is, I think they're just going to end up with a trade at best. They do fortify their towers to try and protect the tier 1 bottom. Now they're going to go ahead and send down QO. This is the right play. Sprout's there, and he can't get out. Does manage to make it.
So close.
Just by the skin of his teeth in mid, though. Looks like they might try to collapse after this. Tide should have Ravage, and he does. He'll use it to secure their escape. Caught 4 with it, so well played there. March is the one left behind, though, and there's Lance to leap ahead and secure another kill. Overgrowth was used. The rest of MVP has to run, but you can't run from DDZ. The man is on a tear and not done yet. Using March to maybe clean up Heen, but he will be able to skirt just outside of the little robotic pincers or whatever it is that ends up doing that damage. So they do get the tier 1 mid, but unfortunately they're going to end up losing their own and maybe more, as they may just keep pushing.
And it looks like Arrows, now they're ready to just be full force. They want to start pushing these towers. They want to start just gaining the full lead that they feel already at this point. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to take this tier 2 mid. They know Ravage is down. They know the spells that are useful for MVP are just down. They don't have Exorcism. They don't have the Ravage, and that's massive. Even though Tidorn did get a very early mech for himself, it's just not going to be enough to really pressure them off too much.
And QO on the bad end of DDZ's Wrath. He rearms. They're all hemmed in. There's going to be a Sprout that catches March, and now down goes the Death Ward. Lance eating a lot of damage from it. However, Hand of God gets their health back up. Lance engaged upon, has the Aegis popped off. It looks like the Prophet's going to drop as well. The rest of Arrow has to scatter for the moment. There's a Chin Creep hanging in, and here comes DDZ. He's teleporting into the Chin Creep. Going to come right in and try to do what he can, which is going to be clean up the remainder. And Shen actually got a sin back there. Well played on that. DDZ, though, just continuing to sit back by the side and just go to town. Rocket spam, one last auto attack, makes it a triple kill for the undoubted MVP of this series so far. And, honestly,
man, and Tidorn might get chased out. He's going to TP on the Centaur probably and try to chase him down. I wouldn't blame him.
Yep.
He's got the Blink Dagger. He's got everything up.
And going to try to double back, actually.
Really nice frog
wrong.
spot right there, but I think they know.
Yep, they do. And there's the Rockets.
Rearm.
Getting some help. And here comes the Death Prophet.
DDZ's in a very awkward position right now. He's probably going to end up going down here.
Gets a kill on the way. Mega kill. Ooh, Crypt Swarm just barely missed him. No, the Exorcism Spirits come up a little short as Blink Dagger's up. Doesn't have enough mana at the moment to teleport away, so he'll just hoof it. Johnny, though, trying to get the Sin back. Prophet will be able to make it away. Moves on throughout the Magic Missile to buy some time. Might end up paying with his life, though. There's an arrow that actually connects on March. Let's see. Yes, beautiful smash coming out of QO. Best smash he's had all game, and this might be a little bit of a coup if they can clean it up and get away. They're all kind of low health, and DDZ is still on the warpath. Let's see if he wants to re-engage QO, though. Bottling himself back up, looks like he's spoiling for a fight. The rest of them will go ahead and disperse. So, MVP, they lose some, but you know what? They're giving as good as they're getting at this point.
Yeah, and it looks like, honestly, it looks like Arrow's playing too cocky.
Yeah, agreed.
They're honestly just running at them at this point because I think they feel just very confident. And I don't really blame them, but I don't think they expect this Slaughter to get his Blink Dagger this early. So very good by QO, and he got a very nice crush there on, I think, 3 heroes, and he ended up cleaning up 2. So very well played by MVP to try to catch up in this game. We do see the tides turn very, very little bit into MVP, but it's still very, very much so in favor of Arrow.
We're at 15 minutes in, hard to believe, with 23 kills on the board. And the item progression is getting so big that it does feel like a slightly later game.
And DDZ is going for the build that he was doing the other day that I saw. He's got this point boosted first item, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be this Bloodstone into Dagon, which he did.
So sick whenever he gets it all rolling the right way. But MVP, like I gotta say, they still have some tier 2 standing. They've taken down 1 tower. Obviously, they're in a very, very bad position, and the game still completely in control of Arrow. But MVP, given their handicaps, I feel like is fighting this out pretty well. They're playing you can't fake desperation, and I think we're seeing that now out of MVP.
Yeah, for sure. Now we do see the Tidener actually finally pick up his first point of Gush, which I've never seen anyone do, actually. He maxed his Kraken Shell without leveling Gush at all. So at least he has it now. The Midas Armor is really nice. Of course, the slow is really nice, of course, for the Exorcism. We do see MVP go for a 5-man smoke, and let's see where they end up going for this. They're probably going to just run to the jungle and try to get a pick. And yeah, we do see the line coming out from March.
Desperation smoke. They know they got to do something to get this game at least kind of moving in their favor. Muzan could be the target. Not the best target, but a target's a target and a kill's a kill. They'll take that with 5 of them. But, you know, that's actually kind of unfortunate. Of all the heroes they could have caught, that's one of the worst.
And now they all have minus damage.
Yep.
Eat the vengeance.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, it's really overlooked still at this point because, you know, it's very new edition, and we do see Furion picking up his book too, so he's not really farming the best on this Furion after the beautiful, you know, of course, level 1 Roshan, the kill that they have, so it's not too bad, but, oh man, he actually might get caught out from this aggressive TP that he did, and yeah, QO should be able to clean him up as long as he get a bash. Bash!
Oh, Ravage!
Okay, he didn't get the bashes, so I mean, I guess it's worth spending the Ravage there, but now Arrow might just react and push down the tower because they know this Ravage is down.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to hook up here. That's going to be Lance and Johnny taking the lead for the moment. And down at bottom, DDZ going to split push into that bottom tower. Already has up his Soul Booster. So Bloodstone in the works. And the net worth is actually still south of 5K lead for Arrow. I'm really impressed with how well MVP has held on. It's just a shame the laning phase went as poorly as it did. If they were playing like this and their hole was not nearly as deep, they'd have a much more realistic chance of capitalizing in the mid game. For now, though, they're continuing to hold serve at the very least.
Yeah, and Arrow decides, you know what, that mid tower, even though Ravage is down, that mid tower really sucks to push. Going for those safe lane towers is really what you want because not only are they easier to take, it opens up the whole jungle to you, and you can end up farming it and putting a lot more pressure onto MVP. So this is definitely the right move by Arrow here.
Let's see how committed they are to it. Who's on is there? Arrow barely missed. Heen's back there under Nature's Guys. Up at top, we're actually going to see the Prophet once again dying.
And I just don't really understand why the Prophet was there. His team was all focusing on
at
pushing
the
that
bottom
tower.
They're re-engaging. There's going to be an Overgrowth Hand of God going to be used. Muzan still eating a lot of damage crushes there to help clean things up. DDZ in the meantime continues to do the work that he does. And he's going to have to go ahead and hustle away. Looks like QO knows where he is. And, yep, manages to get the stun. Now the follow-up crush. Centaur's there.
Back. Is he going to get out? Is he going to live through the Maledict, though? Yeah, he will. It's a low-level Maledict.
And they're not done. They're continuing to chase down Johnny. They end up losing the tree at the end of the fight. So it's going to be a 2-for-3 exchange. Oh, didn't even see where that came from. But well shot, and there'll be a stun on the Johnny. Don't think it's going to be enough. He's going to sprint after him. Just heard him use it. And he's going to try to blind rush it. No, never mind. Turned around at the lip of the river. So, once again, MVP continues to hold their ground.
Yeah, it was a very good defense by them there. They didn't have the Ravage there at all, so it was really well played by them. They did a great overgrowth into Death Ward. And yeah, that fight actually went in the favor of MVP
no doubt.
There.
Well,
really well done.
I'm actually a little stunned and really impressed that MVP is able to extend this game. And when you look at the net worth, DDZ obviously at the top and opening up a very large gap. He's nearly double the highest farmed hero on the side of MVP, which BT Dubs happens to be that Tide Hunter. Yeah. But at the same time, everyone else is kind of down there with them. Marana and Nature's Prophet, not that far ahead. And they do have Slaughter and Death Prophet all in that 6.5K range.
I honestly feel like Arrow is just, they're playing a little bit too cocky.
Yep.
The Furion should have ported bottom with his team there, but instead he ported top to try to defend that tower and just do too much, really. So he was up there and he got caught instead of being bottom and being able to just take down that tower with his team, being together, and just playing as a team instead of, being out of position, which I kind of personally think that was just an overcommitting. He was trying to do too much, like I was saying before.
Bringing in our other analysts for a moment, Fear. You've been keeping an eye on the game. How do you feel? You feel like MVP's doing as good a job as it seems to be, keeping this game extended? What do you think the chances are looking ahead?
I mean, they're still really far behind right now. Like, if they're going to win this game, they have to take a few more huge team fights because they don't really have the best late game here. So they're still definitely on the back foot.
Yeah.
Looks like they tried to make something happen at top, but came up missing. DDZ just continuing, though, to farm out every single lane.
Yeah, and that's what he had so much. He's had so much space on this map, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna go for that Dagon build again. Because why else would you go with this Bloodstone? You can just spam so much. You can just rearm. You can get your rearm at 16. It's not greedy at this point once you have the Bloodstone because you have that regen to just be able to keep you back coming into those team fights.
Arrow just continuing, and it looks like they're taking a page from your playbook, Fog. Looks like they are settling down some and not just rushing lanes to rush lanes. They're playing a little bit more elusively. DDZ not going to be pursued out. They get the silence on the 2. Lance and DDZ being chased, and they're going to go ahead and use Exorcism. And that's probably just going to be to zone and to guarantee a death on that tower. That tower, honestly, don't think they really needed to use it there. And they might even be engaged upon if they hang around too long. Tier 1 does drop. Let's see if they want to bring in the Prophet. Nope, he's still just hanging around the bottom. Also, has enough for a book 3, just hasn't bought it yet.
Yeah, and he's hiding now, and maybe QO will have the sense to spot him out, but no, it's not going to happen. And Furion's just going to TP back to base, pick up his book 3, and they're probably going to start sticking together a bit more because they're probably going to know that this Roshan is spawning if he's not spawned already, which he is. So.
Yep, QO has an illusion on it for the moment. But, like you said, basically that Roshan melts so quickly that unless MVP anticipates it, as soon as Arrow goes in, they're basically on a 15 to 10 second timer to get into the pit and actually contest it.
Yeah, we do see Titan actually going for a pipe here, which, I mean, of course it blocks some of the march, but I feel like he needs something to initiate on them. I feel like he needs either like a Force Staff or a Blink, or maybe even just like going for the Shivas and just running in and using it, but if he decides to go for the pipe and mech, it's fine, absolutely, because he's going to try to keep his Death Prophet alive.
Well, the issue I think that is what's going to end up being a problem, as well as MVP is playing, if they continue to just hold the map static as it is right now, they're just still lacking that late game core you really want. Like, Slaughter does not scale all that well with items, especially in comparison to heroes like a Marana. As long as it takes her to get online, she can be effective when she's 5 or 6 slotted. Tinker, who without a doubt turns into a carry once he ends up with 3-4 big items, once it gets up a Hex, a Dagon, whatever else you want. And of course Prophet, who almost always ends up going pure glass cannon following a book pickup. So they're still on a timer. Like, they're doing a great job of holding the map static, but they put that puzzle together. Now they have to go on to the next one, which is, okay, now how do we get aggressive and how do we put the pressure on them?
And I don't really see how they can, because Arrow are going to be doing Roshan's constantly, and there's nothing MVP can do. If they run into that Rosh pit, it's absolute suicide for them. And yeah, we see Tide start to running in, but that's a complete suicide maneuver there, and they do end up using Murana ulti on there for Arrow.
Completely forgot that this is 22 minutes. That was the 3rd Roshan, by the way. So they have Cheese as well.
The beauty of that level 1 Roshan.
Yep, no joke. Cheese picked up on the Prophet that time. Makes sense. He's been having some health issues of late. Has ended up dying a few more times than I'm sure he would have liked to. But DDZ, just the man's a monster. And
doing what he does. And he's got his Dagon. He's got his level 16, and he does skill the rearm right away, which I figured he would.
Well, we can see that MVP's kind of sucked back now. They know those tier 2s really are their lifeblood. Those have to stay up. If they end up losing any more map control, if that jungle ends up opened up, or at worst they just end up with a tier 3 that can be pushed, Arrow has the potential to do that. Fear, back to you, my friend, as we see not a lot of action taking place and teams settling down. If you're MVP's captain, what's the game plan?
Well, basically for them right now, they're definitely on the back foot now. They need to find a pick off on DDZ, especially seeing that they do have... He does have this Bloodstone, though, so it's going to be very hard for him to kill him and still make a push. So what MVP really needs to do is they need to get their lanes pushed out, and then they need to get that tier 1 bottom right now, as soon as they possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so difficult, though, versus DDZ. He knows how to play this Tinker. He's not going to let them push these towers. He's going to just He's going
Look
to just
at
be split pushing everything all over the map, and that's him all alone. And now, okay, sure, why not? Let's throw a Furion on there as well. He still hasn't even been spamming his ultimate the whole time. Now he finally uses it to just keep pressure all over the lanes and his book 3. So these towers are going to just start getting pushed in, even though there is a tree. And now we do see the glyph coming out, so they're probably going to commit for the tower once the glyph is used.
They can't even push the lanes out. Like, look at bottom. They're trying to push that out so this doesn't happen there. Look at QO just being melted down. And he's just going to rearm, and yeah, they're sending in a lot of troops. He needs to get out of there as quickly as he possibly can, but making it a very hot LZ with all of those marching the machines. But yeah, bottom is still pushing towards the tower. And it's just getting to a point where they're getting overrun. They're literally getting brute forced out of this.
Yeah, and if the reason I don't really enjoy this build through the Tidehunter as well is because he has a 546 mana pool. We do see Lance did start to get engaged on, but QO decided to back up. But the Tidehunter just only has 546 mana pool. He does have a stick, of course, and a bottle, but Pipe is 100 mana, Mech is another 150, Ravage is 225. If he gets hit by this Necro Book and if the guy uses the Necro Book mana burn, he can't Ravage. He can't use any spells after it either. He has to really watch out the way he uses mana in the team fights, if there even is a team fight at this point. Because, by the way, it looks like Arrow's just going to completely split them up.
There's going to be a cask. And DDZ still doing good damage. March is actually going to run into the March. There's a Death Ward to try and force DDZ back, but just kind of shrugging it off at this point. QO trying to get the angle on him. He's going to be re-engaged upon, so ends up using his Bloodstone to suicide and make sure he pops back up quickly. Just a 30-second cooldown. And the rest of his team not committing to come help. So a little bit, again, cocky play.
Yeah, very cocky there. I'm not sure really what streak he was on, but that suicide was definitely very, 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 very good because he saw 4 people running at him bottom, and he's like, what? They just committed so much, they ported a bunch of heroes down here. I'm just going to suicide, and then they can split push the other lanes. And yeah, we do see Lance taking advantage of that right away and pressuring that mid tower.
Yeah, this is basically a game of tower defense, and that's going to be an arrow that connects on March. No follow-up, though. Yep, there's going to be but tree armor there to help out in case there was some kind of follow.
And Venge ends up dying because he was playing a little bit out of position. He was playing too far up. And now, oh man, DDZ might get caught out here as well. He ported in very aggressively, and yeah, he's going to get taken down.
That's big. 844 gold ends up going to Slaughter.
Needs. Yep. 100%. That's really what they need, but it's still not enough, really. They need to get more.
It's a nice first step, but there's still a big ass staircase they have to climb up.
Absolutely, because we do look at the gold gain, and Arrow is just well over the 10,000 gold lead part.
Yep.
Now it actually dropped down a bit. It's about 9,000, but either way, that's still a very good gold lead, and they do have the late game and the split push potential on all their heroes.
Again, it's even though they are undoubtedly in the worst, in a very, very bad position, I'm still impressed at how well they managed to keep it together.
Yeah, MVP is doing very well. They actually just got the kill score lead there as well. It's 17 to 15 now. The Slardar picks up he's got his blink, he's got his BKB online as well, so he's got what he really needs as right now. And Death Prophet is getting quite tanky at this point. He is squishy based off his armor, but he's got 3,000 gold, he's got a vitality booster, he's got his mobility items with the Phase Yule's Drum, so he's gonna be able to run around and just be able to do a lot in these team fights as long as he doesn't get locked down.
DDZ continuing to be an absolute pest as he keeps these lanes shoved. The Prophet there to try and help keep things under control, but eats a lot of damage. Only 3 charges on his Bloodstone now after suiciding and then dying almost immediately afterwards. And yeah, I mean, the fact that there are 2 Tier 2 still standing for MVP in the face of how good of a start DDZ had on Tinker, as well as the Nature's Prophet having his Midas as quickly as he did. Again, I think that's really impressive, but the problem is, like we've said 100 times, holding serve just isn't good enough. Like, they have a lineup that has to execute sooner rather than later. The later the game goes, the more comfortable Arrow's going to be anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And I was actually really shocked in the fact that they gave the Potom the Aegis instead of the Tinker. I guess he was just so confident in the fact that he wasn't going to be getting picked off, but it's really difficult to actually play this Tinker versus Treant. If the Treant is smart, and he seems like he's been doing a really good job, he's at level 3 Nature's Guys, he's just running around Invis this whole time, just setting up where the Tinker's going to be porting. And they just like set up with that, and that's how they got the kill on him at bottom. They made him pop his Bloodstone, and then they go set up on him mid, which was of course DDC's fault because he just really ported in very, very aggressively. And looking on that far left side, actually, they have a ward on the cliff. So MVP is watching out for
That's
DDC.
That's actually hilarious.
Because he has been over there constantly. He's been blinking over there and just spamming the marches. So very nice ward there by them.
For the moment, everything remains quiet. We actually saw an attempted smoke out of MVP. They were trying to anticipate movement out of Arrow, but no one was home. Everyone on the side of Arrow, instead just farming safely in their own jungle or elsewhere. Roche should be back up in just a few minutes as the Aegis was reclaimed just moments ago. And yep, it'll be back up in about, call it 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Yeah, almost 2 minutes, just about. But yeah, I mean, Arrow also does have very aggressive wards down into MVP side, so they do see that, you know, they do have the cliff ward up on that Radiant side, so they do see if MVP's farming that, so they're going to be able to just know where they are for the most part. This tree just really needs to play phenomenal and be set up for where the Tinker's going to go in order to get the pickoffs that they need. But it's still, like we were saying before, it's going to be extremely difficult because MVP's late game does not really match up to Arrow's.
For the moment, still quiet, and would bring in fear, but I think we've analyzed this game to death.
Yeah, I think so too.
How about random thought of the day? Give me a random thought here, Fear.
March sucks.
Wow.
Could have given me anything, dude. Could have given me anything. That's what we did.
No, it's just, I don't know. This game is really interesting. For me, I'm just like really impressed. I love watching Tinker being played. And like the start he had, it's just really impressive. Like, what do you see this game for me?
Yeah. He's really just...
Other than that chain feed he did twice.
Of course. Yeah, of course. But if you look around, his team is farming the woods. They're farming the Ancients, and DDZ is pressuring all 3 lanes.
Oh, yeah.
Plus the Furon ulti, of course.
Yep.
But I haven't really seen this Furon be porting to lanes and just farming super aggressively too much, because he's really scared of this tree. And that's the power of the tree with the level 3 or level 4 invis.
Yep. This is actually one of those cases where... You know, we talked extensively during the draft. You know, tree either gives you a little, tree either gives you a lot or gives you nothing. He actually has been of relative utility because of just his ability to keep an eye on things. And even though MVP lost a ton of ground early, they really have kept that hole from sinking any deeper.
Yeah, for sure. Even though this, of course, you look at the net worth. Tree's at 2,800 net worth. You're like, wow, he's doing terrible, garbage, blah blah blah. But no, he's making a lot of space on the map. He's just scouting around, and it makes a big deal. It really does. And he did get that ward up on that cliff, which scouts out DDZ up on the side. But now, I mean, they're just going to get split up, and what's going to end up happening is Arrow's just going to farm. They don't mind taking this to a farming game. They know what the game's going to be like.
Yep.
The only benefit for this for MVP is if they get absolutely massive on their heroes. Like if this Death Prophet ends up having a Shivas and just full slotted plus a Slardar with full slots, they have a chance at this because Slardar max slotted or with a lot of items is very good versus bottom and Furon. And yeah, that really hurts. Chen just bought a full book 3 in one shot. So now maybe they'll go for trying to go for a push at this point and trying to seal the issue, unless they just go for the Roshan and then go for it, which is probably the likely scenario.
Yeah, Roshan is back up. They are grouping at bottom, trying to make something happen.
Lance still has that cheese, so it's going to be 2 cheese stock. But no, they want to defend this tower. They don't want to lose one, I don't think, here.
March picked up his hard, by the way, so he's going to be a little tougher to bring down. That's really the big concern we had, too, was could March get the start he needed to feel tanky enough to really hang around the fights the way you want to with the Death Prophet. And that's been done. They're going to go and check the Roche pit.
Well, they're going to go do it themselves, maybe. They can kill it very, very quickly with the Gush and Prophet ulti, so I don't think Arrow can really contest that at all, because it's going to melt. It's absolutely just going to melt.
It is down already. So look at this. MVP.
Doing what they can.
Dude, not just doing what they can, doing well. Like doing what they have to do and what they need to do. And books are awesome, and they're going to be able to push here, but like the exchange here is nil. Basically, MVP did nothing but take a free Roshan and make it back in plenty of time to keep everything safe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Arrow got like 300 damage on that top tower, but thinking about it, you're versus a tree. The tree can heal that up, and you really didn't do too much there in that whole time that they were doing that. So a little bit strange by Arrow not really expecting that. And it's looking not too bad.
Johnny in trouble at top. He's got a little bit of help, but will it be enough? BKB is going to be deployed. There's going to be the mech used. Johnny should end up dropping here. Nope, Hand of God deployed. So they end up feeding the Aegis just about as quickly as they get it. And they've got a lot of personnel there. Let's see. On both sides, they could have re-engaged. However, at bottom, we already see the split pushes on as Prophet has made his way down. Has his treants and is actually under cover of Mirana's ulti. They're going to spot this and have to get there. And yeah, at this point, I think there's no reason for them not to just do what they had been doing. I mean, like you said, their MVP has heroes that can just be beasts if they're 6-slotted, but the problem is Arrow's going to get there so much quicker.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem. And also, a 6-slotted Tinker is absolutely terrifying. We do see Slardar actually go for an armlet, so he's going for a semi-mid-game build with that armlet, which I guess he kind of has to, because he just has to find picks all over the place, try to snowball as best as he can, and just get tons of kills at this point and just completely take over the game. But we haven't seen a single kill in... It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, it's been 17 to 15 for at least 5-6 minutes, if not longer.
It's been almost 8 minutes, actually, that there's been a kill on the board. I mean, there's been kills, but of course the Aegis and everything is not really allowing it to be a real kill. And we do see, maybe DDZ will get caught out here.
He's silenced. No, the silence actually is off the mark. Mistimed it. There's going to be a Gush. He will be slowed. Can just try to TP in their face. Ravage is going to be spent to bring him down, and he does end up suiciding, though. So that's, he's down to just 2 charges on that Bloodstone, and that item choice not seeming quite as good as it could have been.
In this game's, I mean...
It's taking a turn, slowly but surely.
It really is, and Lance isn't really doing too much on this bottom. Yeah, he's farming, but he went for all these defensive items. He's got this Lincolns, and then he went BKB, 10 charges, and now he's going for a Mithril Hammer, so he's going to start pulling out some damage soon, but they're not really. I don't really see Arrow doing too much, but just farming. So I mean, if MVP keeps doing what they're doing, getting pickoffs all over the place, this could actually end up being their game. And Arrow just off the mark on March, and yeah, March is just popping his ult, and he's like, I want this tower.
Oh, behind that, Johnny's actually spotted by QO as well, and Johnny got swapped. Doesn't matter though, he ends up dead anyway. Now there's not going to be a Ravage if they do decide to engage in force. Good crush though, and Muzone's next on the list. And we see Lance actually has to leap away. This is going to be a tier 2. Likely, they're going to lose their tier 2 at bottom, but they actually have help on the way. It's just a tree, though. And he can do nothing but just kind of hang around and keep an eye on things, as it will be a full trade, except with the kills favoring MVP.
This Fiora needs to be careful, though. I mean, if someone puts down there, but no, they're not going to in time. But he did stop the Fiora in TP. And yeah, we do see Ryzen getting engaged on top, but he looks like he's going to get away, and he pops a smoke for some reason.
Panic smoke.
It happens.
There's the Prophet, though, and yeah, that's a Dagon.
And that's a gem on the floor.
That's a big Dagon, by the way. That's Dagon 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's a Dagon 4. So yeah, DDZ is very farm. Of course, we look at it, he's got 21,000 net worth, but MVP is doing a great job of just splitting the game up and just trying to find picks all over the place, and they're finding them. DDZ's Bloodstone's only at 4 charges, and he just got a kill off of it.
Yep, it was at 2 before that. Ty did finish his Shivas amidst all of that action, by the way. There's the Dagon 5 upgrade. And for the Death Prophet, I mean, at some point soon, you would imagine she'll want to get a refresher. So we'll keep an eye on that. But for now, she's getting tanky. I mean, hell, she's got 2,500 HP. Look at that. I mean, that was a lot of damage output. Still just took her down about a third.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's got a plate mill, so maybe he's going to go for this AC and then going into these other builds just to make him super tanky so they can't do any physical damage. But, I mean, Potom isn't really doing... I don't even think I've seen him really do much, actually. I don't think I've seen him right-click anybody for the most part.
Not hardly. He hasn't even hit that many arrows, if we're honest. He's hit the few he's hit have been good.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we just haven't seen him all that involved.
Yeah, for sure. And this Tidehunter is doing very, very well for himself. I mean, he's very farmed on him.
Right there with the Potom. He's like right there.
MVP's just doing a great job, and we do see maybe DZ get engaged on bottom. He's playing very, very aggressive. Trees on him, and they do use the Sprout.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And
Dust for him.
That's a lot of damage, though. QO pops the BKB, and he's going to end up killing the tree off for sure. Like you said, Cheese use. Oh, DDZ bought just enough time to suicide himself, and he is living on the edge. And now they're going to try to pursue out the Prophet. Prophet, though, with that haste rune, caught out and hit with the amplified damage. He's going to sprout himself in and try to TP away. Crush gets him through the trees, though. And the damage output, more than enough. Tides there. Kill secured as he gushes down. The Prophet, however, at top. Arrow reacting appropriately, just forcing things elsewhere. There's an arrow that catches Rice, and he's going to end up dead. Nope. Yeah, he will. It was very close, but does end up dropping. Tree buys back in the meantime. Tinker and Prophet are both down. Tinker, even though he's suicided, still can't get involved, but QO is there to try and stem this wave of creeps. They've still got the Necro creeps banging away. And yeah, he's actually going to be able to get it just fine. And March, in the meantime, clears out the last remaining tier 1 on the board.
Yeah, they do get the top tower, though, and they get like half damage up on that melee rack. So not too bad for Arrow. I actually think that DDZ, I think he was going to live there. He popped the Bloodstone really preemptively. Yep. The Sprout was on him, and it is a level 2 Sprout. So I think if he just rearmed it, he could have blinked out right away, afterwards.
Would have been close.
I mean, it's a heat of the moment, so I don't think it's a bad use of the Bloodstone because he doesn't want to give any streaks or any kills to anybody. But I'm pretty sure he could have lived there.
DDZ, I mean, he's known for being a cocky player, but I honestly feel like him dying and having to suicide as much as he had has cost his team a lot of momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this game is not, it's slowly,
it's in reach.
Very, very slowly going into MVP's hands. Like, it's going to be extremely difficult for them, but they might be able to do it. If Arrow just keeps getting caught out of position, if they don't just chill out and just split push and just do what their lineup is there for, they could end up losing this game.
And that Slarter is taken up heavy. He's got the armlet, just picked up a Reaver in the meantime. And we'll see what he wants to turn that into. Likely another Heart, one would imagine. And Lance with a Desolator, finally, is doing a fair amount of damage. Still has that cheese, by the way. Still been just hanging on to it. It's aged cheese at this point.
It's aged. Nice, I like that.
Do what it
But
can.
yeah, I mean, Tinker decides he's not going to even go for this for the Sheep next. He's going to just go for the Ethereal Blade. So he's just going to go to try to blow people up, which... a little bit risky at the same time as anything, but I guess it's what he wants to do. He just wants to kill people. So, can't really blame him for that, because it's very, very fun just ethereal blading and Dagon 5 people. Can't blame him.
Well, it's what he does. I mean, it's his play style.
It's a little bit strange, though, because this is the TI, this is TI4 qualifiers. They should be taking this very, very seriously, and I feel like Arrow is kind of just, they're taking it seriously, but it looks like they're not taking it as seriously as they should be.
I feel like they're still up. Hang on, Arrow.
Oh, man.
Engage upon, uses that HGs. Now BKBs are up on both sides. Moonlight Shadow will be deployed. The dust goes off, but now Tide, left by himself, will spin the Ravage, but doesn't do a whole lot. Johnny caught in the back of it. Can they clean him up before he can do anything? Yes, he ends up dropping and March on a dominating streak. That's 2 down. They lost Lance and the Chen. Amidst all of that, however, Arrow has the split push on at bottom. They got to make up their mind. Who are they sending home and who are they pushing with? That tier 2 is an exposed target. No Ravage on the Tide. And, yeah, the Prophet's just going to go ahead and bail out. I think he probably could have harried that Tide a bit, but tier 2 mid. Now the target, DDZ's there, using some rocket spam and March of the Machines to try to zone them out. Exorcism does end up expiring, though, so no other towers brought down amidst all of that. But once again, MVP continues to build on this momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I agree with you that the Fury could probably press this shoe bottom a little bit, but you have to be super careful versus this tree. He's just invisible the whole time, just running around. And yeah, it's been about the same for a while now, but
It's
yeah,
like 30
it's about
minutes. It's been about this big.
Yeah, 9,000 net worth in the lead of Arrow, but they're just giving up lots of kills, and the items are starting to really build up onto MVP. This Slaughter is going to have either a Heart or Satanic very, very soon. Death Prophet's got his AC Heart, Yule's Phase Drum, so he could even go for his own Sheepstick pretty soon, and that's really, really devastating if he does get that. He can go solo kill people at one point.
Fear, what do you think, man? We're beginning to see. I mean, there's no doubt about it. MVP is tanking up so much, and we could see even the Tidehunter's not scared of DDZ now.
Yeah, I feel like right now they're losing. Oh no, he does not have Ravage up, so he's not going to catch it. But I feel like right now, like the choices on items have been really peculiar for Arrow. I feel like they had such a lead; they could have built more aggressive items and went to end this game. But going into the Bloodstone, going to the Lincoln's BK in particular on the Mirana has really hurt them. I feel like they have no items to really breach the high ground when they had an advantage. So now MVP's finding some openings and getting some picks, which is getting back in this game. They have a long way to go still, but at this rate, if they keep doing this and they keep making mistakes on Arrow, if you look at the Tinker's Bloodstone charges, it's getting really low, so it's becoming quite irrelevant an item in my opinion. I'm not a hugest fan of Bloodstone in particular on Tinker, because if you get that early Hex, you can just push advantage, especially on the Mirana. If you get that early Death, so you can start pushing the base. I feel like the item choices on Arrows is really prolonging this game.
Yep, the Bloodstone has been at less than 4 charges for about 20 minutes now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not really too sure what Arrow's trying to do. I mean, they're just... I looked like they were kind of like joking around at one point.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh god, this is blowing up in our face. We got to just take this seriously. And now they're trying to like split up and farm. This Furion went for a BKB, and they just don't want to get caught out. They're just really scared. They definitely don't want to lose this game, and they're playing more and more patiently now at this point. And we do see a pot of multi coming out.
And we saw right there, while the gold lead remains in favor of Arrow, the experience is dead even, literally right on that 0 line for the first time since before the creep spawned and that level 1 Roshan dropped. So they've made up a lot of ground, at least in that regard. Still some ground to be made up, but they're just so tanky, man. Like, every time that they're engaged upon now, it's not even that they're doing that much damage, it's just that Arrow can't do enough damage, really. It's kind of becoming the issue.
And I think that's really what comes down to the item choices, like Fear was saying before. I mean, this Potom just... Yeah, he got the Desolator now, but he doesn't really do too much damage.
But see, look at that.
DZ gets sent back there, at least. So they did bait out a Death Ward there.
But even, like, just think about what happened, though. Like, a Tinker that was as far ahead as he was just blew everything he had. And yes, it did a fair amount of damage. Hang on, we're going to have a Hex onto Forev, and DDZ's there to try and help out. Oh, if he can clean it up one more time, Ravage is going to be used. That might be enough to get him away, but it did cost Ravage.
That's a defensive Ravage. That's a big deal.
Yep. The fact that, I mean, that's kind of what we've been expecting to see. And he found a squishy, and he made him squishy.
Yeah, and now Arrow gets the opportunity to go for that Roshan, because now Ravage is down. They got to pick off as well, and now this Arrow looks like they're really starting to pick it back up. They're starting to take it more.
This is what they should have been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just really comes down to what you were saying. The item choices just were very, very strange. I mean, yeah, DDZ has shown that he really loves this Bloodstone, which I don't think was that much of a problem at all. I think it was more so the way that they were playing.
The play style after the Bloodstone.
Yeah, and this Potom going for the super defensive build rather than being aggressive after they got a level 1 Roche. You're looking at this game, and if you really think about it, you're like, there wasn't a level 1 Roche. Like, MVP's playing super well, and they were coming back, but now at this point, Arrow's just going to probably barrel down and just try to go for a tower push at this point, because they know Ravage is down.
There's that hard up on Slaughter. Ravage is down, but not for too much longer. I mean, a fair amount of time has passed, and they're not even near the tier 3s at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, about a minute and a half. So if Forev can hold on, keep himself alive, and keep these towers standing a little bit longer, once that's out, he's actually got an Oblivion Staff, so he's on his way to a refresher with 1,600 gold already allocated to it, aside from everything. You think Arrow has the firepower here?
I still think that they do, honestly. As long as they don't play too good. Forev getting gave down bottom. He does not have his Ravage up, and he's going to get blown up by these Dagons and these
It's taking so much. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, oh, finally they're able to track him down. DDZ.
Not quite enough.
Yep. And he was so tanky, but it took so much. There's the Death Ward, and DDZ's eating a lot of damage.
No reveal.
Yep.
Oh, the arrow catches on Ryzen, too. They're going to re-engage on this.
Yep. And Ryzen still alive behind this fight. Really kind of a scramble moment.
You know
for
DDZ
MVP.
wants to go in on that so badly.
He's
But top being
dying to.
pushed in by the Furin right now, too. Yep. So they're getting split up on MVP right now.
And he did pick up a Maelstrom in the meantime. So he is a little bit better there. He's going to go ahead and run forward. Not going to matter. As he will be Yulesed. Is that?
Yeah, deep purges off the Sentinel.
I did not know that. Interesting to know. When there's a Yules on the map, don't try to be cheeky with the Sin bag. He's going to use his BKB, though. And there's going to be an arrow. DDZ's doing good damage from the height. Yep, Overgrowth timed and as well as it could have been, and they end up losing one. So March, on a mega kill streak of his own, Prophet's down for 70 seconds. And this game, against all odds and logic, continues to not just go on, but continues to seem to be within striking distance of MVP Phoenix.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tinker's going to be getting he should be getting his sheep stick pretty soon. He got a couple more charges now. Oh, he bought it. Is that a new bottle he just bought, or did he just swap that back in? I didn't see it before.
Sure.
I think he just bought that new bottle. Pretty sure. But, I mean, it's really good to be teleporting back and just constantly be using that bottle to get the regen. But I'm assuming he's going to go for the sheep. The supports on MVP are very, very crippled, but the cores are starting to get very farmed.
Yep.
This, what you were saying before, this Tide's going to have a refresher soon, but he does decide to go up back, and he might be going for a BKB on the Tide.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does.
The net worth is actually getting kind of huge across the board. We're just about to the point where we're going to have potentially, like, honestly, if this game goes another 10 minutes, we're going to have at least 5 heroes that have 20k net worth, if not more, depending on if the Tide can catch up. And I doubt Shin's going to stay on the pace he's on. Shin has 13k net worth, by the way, which is kind of nuts in and of itself. But MVP just continuing to stem the tide of Arrow.
Yeah, Arrow they really just didn't take advantage of the lead that they had at one point, and now it's ending up being, it's a little bit scary for them. They have to take it a lot more seriously, and they just have to get their items up on their heroes, get their damage up on their Potom, and then set up for it. And yeah, it looks like Potom's going to end up setting up for the B-Fly, so he's going to set up for this late game for sure.
And yeah, there's a Hex out now on March. That in and of itself a pretty big item.
Yeah.
And being able to deal with these heroes, especially the Tinker, who's gone just pure pub build, basically. He doesn't have a defensive item like a Lincoln's, like a BKB. Double damage, as you can see, our awesome observer pointing out in the river. And those things, it's amazing. Like, double damage is so valuable early. Then it's just like, yeah, if you get one, it's nice. You get down to the super late game, double damage runes win games, dude.
Yeah, they really do. But we don't see any bottles being grabbed up by MVP, so they're not going to bottle up that rune or anything. They have no idea it's even there, and they have a really hard time getting out of their base. If we look at the map right now, if you look, just MVP has one ward up above their top towers, and it's not really doing too much. Like, it just sees a little bit, but they have no other vision, so they're getting completely out-farmed at this point by Arrow. Still, like we've been saying, we do see a smoke coming out for MVP, and they might go for DDZ here if they do see where he is.
They're thinking about it, trying to bait him. He is going to be able to bots out. So, QO.
Oh, Johnny getting gone on right now, bottom.
Oh.
Venge is there, though, too.
Yep, there's going to be a Force Staff as well, and Johnny trying to make it away. He's going to be caught with the Shivas and the Gush, and he's going to be killed off. DDZ's in range, but again, the influence he's been... Oh, wow! DDZ just utterly obliterating that poor Witch Doctor. Problem is, everyone else is a bit more tanky, and they went ahead and spin the Ravage. He's now down for 71 seconds, and the Death Prophet ult deployed as well. In the meantime, we actually see the Prophet was split pushing. He's going to BKB and try to teleport in his face, and we'll be able to make it away.
No bottom now. They're going to keep going. It looks like Slaughter's going to blow them all up. That Potom needs to get the hell out of there.
Yep. He needs a Butterfly right now. And he's got the Eagle Song up. He's actually not all that far away from him, about 800 gold. But he's, we're getting to the stage in the game where these teams, even Arrow, needs to start worrying about things like buyback. Like, when you look at the towers, that top lane still has 2 racks standing. Still has 2.
And, I mean, sure, DDZ killed the Witch Doctor there, but...
Big deal.
It's a Witch Doctor, and you're giving your own life for it. If we look at the gold graph now, it's starting to dip toward MVP, and honestly, if this, like Fear was saying before, if this keeps going like this, MVP is going to win this game for sure. We do see Tidehunter. He has another 3,500 gold on him as well. He's got an Odal up. He can either go for the BKB, or he can finish up his own refresher really, really soon.
Fear, thoughts on what we're seeing play out in front of us?
I mean, I don't want to be a flame or anything, but Arrow, like their
But you're
item
gonna.
choices. I don't want to be, but I'm gonna be. Arrow right now, I felt like they lost a huge window here. Like this game was blown open from like the minute 1 to 2 minute mark, especially when they got the first blood on the Tinker. And now I feel like they're just kind of playing this like a pub. Like literally just playing this like it's a pub, and they're just building like weird items, taking extremely weird engagements, being overly confident. Like this is like the fourth or fifth time I've seen DDZ just get picked out, going for a solo kill engagement and just dying after getting 1 kill. That's something you can't do as Tinker. Like that's a hero that has way too much farm, way too many levels. If you die way too many times, you're giving so much up. Especially if you're just getting a support kill for it.
He's actually just about level 25. Like he's right there.
Yeah, looking at the lanes too. Look, now it's starting to MVP starting to get their lanes out a little bit more because they're starting to have just the presence. I mean, the tree's running around. He's getting a little bit of wards out for his team, and he's just running around with his nature's guys. So DZ needs to play very careful because he just died. I don't even know how many times in a row because of all this. He's just been going for all these like solo kills on like witch doctors and heroes that aren't too important. So very, very crazy play by him. And now he does end up picking up a BKB for himself. He does get his defensive item on that Tinker.
Desperately
I think
needed.
is very, very needed. But
Desperately.
He ports bottom.
Ooh. Oh, he better
They
hope.
know where he blinked though.
Yep, he better hope. And he actually rearmed just in time to blink again. He's going to do it one more time. And he's actually going to do damage while he can.
And he's out of there.
Makes it away.
That was very, very close though. That was such a risky port.
Did have the BKB though.
Yeah, for sure.
So that could have gotten him out of trouble, but certainly don't want to spend a 10-second charge just because you teleport the wrong place right after you buy the damn thing.
Yeah.
MVP, ready to take a run in the tower. DDZ's there, and they're going to go ahead and use Exorcism. That's a level 3 Exorcism, and that tower is going to mount ridiculously fast. They're going to use their glyph. They're not really in a position to try to counter-engage, though. They're slowly rotating help in. It's the Nature's Prophet who is elsewhere. He's out in top lane at the moment. And yeah, they take the tower completely unchallenged. And he's been trying to do this all game. They're going to get back in time to deal with this. Like, those racks are just still in great shape because of the Treant Protector.
Yeah, it looks like MVP's starting to feel really, really good about this game.
Yeah, they should. They have played this so well. I mean, yes, there were mistakes were made early, and they found themselves in a very deep hole. Like at one point, it was like 12, 13 minutes, and they were just about 10K behind.
Yeah.
But the thing is, not only like it's basically they've been in the same debt or the same hole for the last 50 minutes.
Ty just bought a heart.
Yeah.
He sold his Oblivion Staff. He sold his Ogre Axe. And he's like, you know what? Whatever. Just betting a heart. I don't know how I really feel about that one, but I mean, he's tanky now. He's not going to die to Tinker. That's for damn sure.
Yep. Well, I think that's what they figured out. It's like, well, Tinker's doing pretty much all their damage, so if we can just survive his burst and then catch him afterwards with a Hex or whatever else, then he's not really that big a problem anymore. I mean, he's died 6 times. He's 16-6, granted, so he's staying right on par with his kill count, but his impact has been severely diminished over the last 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, MVP has an XP lead. I mean, it's not the biggest deal at this point, but
No,
they do
that is a
now
big
have
deal,
an XP lead.
given how deep behind they were in that as well as gold. The fact that they caught up and now lead, that is a big deal.
Yeah. The gold is still, of course, in favor of Arrow, but honestly, this looks like MVP's game at this point. If this just keeps going on, like we've been saying, it just really looks like they're just going to be able to take control of this. March is extremely farmed. He's got bots as well now on top of everything. He can sell his phase boots pretty soon, and I don't even know what item he'd go for next.
Fear, thoughts on that?
Right now, I think it's going to be very hard for MVP to actually break Arrow's base unless they get a pick on Tinker.
For sure.
So I still think Arrow is in a good shape here, unless DDC makes a couple more crucial mistakes. If he's able to die, get the rebuy off of him, get a kill again, then I think MVP has the opening to break the base. But they have so much farm on this Tinker right now. He can just spam marches. It's going to be very hard to break the base unless they keep getting more HP items. They, like you said, they did pick up the heart on the Tidehunter. They already have one on DP. So if they're able to get hearts on, I don't know what the starter has as far as items, but if he's able to get tanked up and get a heart itself, then they might be able to break base. He does have one, so they have 3 hearts right now. So actually, they do have the ability to push the base right now. So I think this is the window. They could wait for the next Roche, but within the next 5 to 10 minutes, I think this is MVP's opening to win this game.
Yeah, and it does look like Slaughter, he's getting an MKB as well. So he knows that Podem has the butterfly, and yeah, of course, Laser is very, very good versus it as well.
I'm going to go in, catches Lance. Lance will be hexed, and the Lincoln's popped, but still kept safe. Arrow loses another tower. And as of right now,
might be getting engaged on here.
They're just about dead even on towers. Johnny has to TP
QO
away,
is
but
getting
down.
melted right now.
Yep, Phoenix chasing them down. QO is actually going to come back in off of that. Arrow ends up losing the Venge. Lance eating so much damage from the Death Prophet. Just look at her melt. She has to leap and make a run for the well, and at bottom there was an engagement going on as well. Doesn't look like anything much came of it, though. There was a Ravage deployed, however, and that in and of itself is worth mentioning, and oh, here comes the Tinker.
Ryzen, get out of there.
Oh, he came in and used the trees, and he ends up blowing it up. There's a gem on the ground. Here comes MVP again. QO engaging on the DDZ, got the Hex off, and now, no, there's a Hex on the QO himself. BKB buying him some time. Will it be enough? QO trying. Yes, got the bash.
All over the place.
Yep, and he actually has the suicide again. He's down for 80 seconds regardless of the suicide. And that Bloodstone, he's used it, but he certainly hasn't used it the way he would have liked. That's like, what, the 4th or 5th time he's had to suicide himself?
I believe so, yeah. And MVP right away starts pinging the
Buyback.
Roshan. Yeah, there's the buyback. He needs to buy, and yeah, MVP just runs back.
What an insane game this has been. And we have 6 heroes on the board right now, all over 20k net worth. 6 of them. That's 120k plus. Actually, quite a bit more. Some of them are 25, 27, 28. That is so much gold that has been absorbed on this map across the last 54 minutes, and it's very evenly distributed for the most part. Only the supports are kind of hungry at the moment. The 2 hungriest, the Tree and the Witch Doctor with the Venge there as well.
MVP going to engage on this? They are.
Oh, they are. Roche, very low. Can they get it? Who's going to get it? That's going to be Marana. Actually got the Aegis off of that. There's a great overgrowth that has 3 locked down in one place, and QO's doing work. Lance going to be tossed in the air with the Yule Scepter. Here comes the Nature's Prophet, though, and Tinker's there as well. QO, he does manage to make it away. Kept alive. Lance still alive. Didn't drop the Aegis yet, but now QO hits the crush, but ends up dying behind the fight. He buys back as well. Chen was the other one to die in that engagement. Heen trying to make it away and does use his Blink Dagger to jump the chasm. So we have a buyback on Slarter following the buyback on Tinker, and things are getting kind of crazy. Both of those heroes spent theirs. Almost everyone else, save for the Venge and the Witch Doctor, has their buyback still available.
I'm trying to look where that cheese went. I don't really
I didn't see it either.
I don't know who picked it up. I think it got picked up and used instantly.
Yep.
I think the Marana might have used it right away and then picked up the Aegis, but that was a beautiful swap.
Johnny's got 2.
Oh, Johnny's got 2. Okay.
He's got 2 cheeses.
That was my mistake then. But yeah, the Venge, that was a beautiful swap by him because Slardo was running and he might have gotten one of them. He swapped him all the way back.
Coming back in, he's going to engage onto the Prophet. We actually see another blow up on the Witch Doctor, but now here comes Death Prophet. DDZ trying to bring QO down and does. Now he died back. He's down for 2 straight minutes. Can DDZ make it away? He got silence, but he's able to blink. TPing away and home. He's safe. Now that Slarter is down for a long time. The Nature's Prophet bought back as well. So you're talking 5 on 3 at the moment, and they have to get work done while the Slarter is not available. Looks like they want to meet up in mid for the most part and split push bottom at the same time.
Yeah, Arrow needs to capitalize on this right away. They know this Slarter just bought out. They should be just pressuring all the lanes, and it looks like that's exactly what they're doing.
MVP can do nothing but set their heels and hope. BKB done on Tidehunter. What a freaking beastly Tidehunter.
He's so
Are
farmed.
you kidding me?
Unbelievable. He has 300 creep score on a Tidehunter. You don't see that every day. Not at all.
Anchor Smash is all right.
Really is.
Arrow, gonna make a run at it. We can see the Prophet pecking away. You are not going to zone for Ev out at this point. He is way too fat. They use their glyph.
This should be 2 Raxes for Arrow.
It's still a minute down for Slarter. They need a miracle. They end up using the Hex, but at top, we can see the Prophet. They don't have the damage to deal with him, and here comes DDZ. There's going to be a Hex onto the Tidehunter, but he comes back in trying to engage onto the Death Prophet. She's still so tanky, though. Johnny eating a bit of damage. There's going to be the Death Ward, so he should end up dying to this. Behind that, though, we see the Rax melting down in mid. And now a big combination that brings down the Witch Doctor. Rax down in mid, and MVP, who held on for so long. Looks like they're finally cracking under the pressure. Still 30 seconds until Slarter is there, and they manage to get another set of racks. Ravage deployed, but is it too little too late? Marana's going to be back up. They did manage to get a set of racks there as well. They're going to come back in and look to blow up Heen, and they succeed. BKB on that. Marana keeping her alive. DDZ not too shabby in the health department himself. Lance, in the meantime, just focus firing down those racks. Should be able to bring them down by the time all is said and done, and they're just completely sold out on DDZ at the moment as he's going to lose them in the trees. One would think he actually got caught by a silence. They're continuing to pursue him, but in the meantime, top 2 racks both ended up dropping. They had 1 racks left. DDZ, maybe. Oh, wow.
Oh, buyback
from Chen, and he uses the Hand of God.
Oh,
DDZ is right there with him, has Lance to help him, and they're going to come up and finally just about catch him, but Lance is there. I didn't even see where the Tinker went to.
Trouble.
But yeah, I think the damage is done. Oh, wow! Manages to leap across the gap just past the Radiant Side Secret Shop. I actually didn't even see where the Tinker got away to amidst all that chaos, but looks like he's down at bottom, continuing to be the nuisance he is. But good plays, good pursuit, and fun to watch. However, I think the damage has been done. 2 racks is pretty tough to recover from against a Prophet and a Tinker.
Absolutely, and they have if you just look, everyone has so much gold on them.
Oh god.
March has 7,000 gold. The Witch Doctors, the supports on MVP are pretty poor.
Mm-hmm.
Slardar finished up his MKB. Tidehunter, we were saying before, he's got his BKB, he's got his Shivas, he's got Pipe. He even got rid of the mech at this point to just grab this gem. But all over the place, everyone has so many items. Marana is completely max slotted now at this point too. He only has 1 kill too.
Yeah.
If you really look at
1,
it.
4, and
Right
9.
there, he didn't hit. I don't even think he hit anybody. I think he shot an arrow and a starfall, but he was just focusing those buildings, which is what he needs to do right now.
That was his job.
And yeah, they just need to get one more of those racks down. And it's gonna be super difficult
Johnny.
for MVP. And Johnny, trying to get some creeps out, and I think MVP kind of just read that. They were like, Chen just respawned. He needs creeps, so they just run into their jungle. And that's
In the
a great
meantime,
move.
though, look at bottom.
Yeah.
And this is going to be desperation time out of them. I don't know that there's a whole lot they can do. They will end up catching Muzone, though, so they're going to have 2 down. Refresher finally done on the Death Prophet. However, that tier 3 bottom is going to be brought down in the meantime. BKB deployed by the Nature's Prophet. And, yep, there's the Overgrowth. So he's going to sprout himself in. In the meantime, good damage being done. Jeez, look at the crit. Ryson tracked down from behind. Lance getting himself another kill. Only a second of the game, as we pointed out. And the Witch Doctor has really been having a rough time for a while. DDZ, by the way, now a Tim Bloodstone charges, so he's gotten back into gear after they settled down. And I kind of am forced to agree with Fear. It feels like they were kind of going clown shoes for a while, but now they're like, all right, this is a little too close for comfort. Let's actually play competently.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I really thought that MVP would have been able to take it if they just kept getting the pickoffs. But, Arrow just decided, you know what, we're going to start taking this very much more seriously and just playing the way that we should be playing, the way our heroes are meant to play. Split you up, get a pickoff, go for those racks ace up, and once that Slardar bought back and they killed him again, that's their window, and they just went for it instantly.
All right, looks like Lance is down there by his lonesome. As his Lincoln's popped. And just look how tanky this Tide is. He doesn't care. He's going to rush in and try to engage. BKB's there. And there's going to be the first exorcism. Refresher is done. But now MVP down to their last breath. They're going to end up getting at least 1. But Tinker continues to do work as he is on another killing streak. And Lance's BKB does wear off. Refresh has been used. He has another exorcism available if and when he needs it. For now, this is all just a delay tactic. Just hoping and praying that they're going to buy time for the heroes to get back up. Here comes DDZ, though, and it's going to be spotted by Forev. That's actually Johnny, never mind.
Johnny bought Boots of Travel, just poured it in and pops his necro book. He's like, I got to commit something to you guys. I got to do something.
I'm here, guys. I'm helping.
I'm not just dying.
Oh, DDZ.
Oh, wow. And Ryzen's just getting blown up by that combo. And yeah, he did end up swapping in the Hex for the instead of the BKB there. And yeah, this looks like it's going to be Mega Creeps, and this looks like it might just be the end for MVP.
Last exorcism, doesn't matter. Megas are out. Tide's bought his refresher. Time for that death push, that one last chance. Maybe get a pick, push down mid, and genuinely hope for the best. There's a swap that's going to keep Lance alive. He's going to turn back around, but so tanky between these two heroes. Hell, not between these two heroes. How about that whole team? Bots being picked up everywhere, by the way. As everyone knows the situation. You're not...
2 bots on Marana.
There's just cheese
one.
hanging out in the base, by the way.
He bought 2 there. Oh, he sold it. Okay, there we go. I was going to be, whoa there.
Yeah, 1 for each foot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's got multiple.
Twice as fast.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, now at this point, versus Mega Creeps, it's really demoralizing. They do have the heroes, though, to defend against them, but that's the unfortunate thing about Mega Creeps. Even if you defend against them, it's just not enough because they can just sit back, farm, and then walk in with 5 heroes, and you just really can't do anything. And yeah, like you said before, actually, Death Prophet did end up going for that Refreshers very, very late in the game, which I think is probably the best pickup.
Yeah, she had to have it.
Yeah, I just don't see any other item unless he just goes for DPS, which is pretty worthless.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, man. Win, lose, or draw. Granted, the game's not over. Looking very, very close to being so, but MVP still gasping for air.
They fought.
They
fought a good fight.
Hard.
They really did.
And they showed how good they can be. They really, really did. And the experience, by the way, still is actually in favor of MVP. We can see, look at the hole they dug themselves out of. It took them forever. The gold, not quite as romantic a tale, if we're honest. They did cut it down at one point to about 12K from around 20, so that in and of itself could be a moral victory. But
yeah, for sure.
In the end, it does look like they will be heading to the lower bracket.
I was kind of really hoping that MVP would take this, at least this game, so we'd see a game 3 to see what the potential, because they, even though they were in such a horrible scenario, and Arrow was, playing a little bit goofy, they were taking advantage of it, and they were playing decent Dota. They were finding the pickoffs they needed and doing what they could do possible. Anything that they could possibly do to just try to come back in the game, and they really showed what they could do. Look, it's a 62-minute game, and that was a level 1 Roshan for Arrow, so very well played by MVP, and I'm actually surprised. I did not expect them to do this good versus this team.
I'll be honest, I think this is actually, obviously a win's better, but all things considered, the fact that they came in such underdogs, they got crushed in game 1, and then they come into game 2, and they're going with a very kind of, I won't say sketchy, but A draft that had its glaring weaknesses, even though it could have been great, and then they end up falling behind early. Oh, hello, Abyssal on Death
Abyssal on
Prophet.
Death Prophet. What do you get? He got rid of his Yules. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why not?
I guess, right?
I mean,
you have to
BKBs are the issue.
What's the range on Abyssal? It's like 200, I think. It's
Yep.
really, really short range, so he has to run right next to
QO.
somebody. But you know what? Why not?
Teeing off on the Moose Zone, and Shen unable to get the sim back. There's going to be an overgrowth that catches two. That's Lance and Johnny Bo. Jim on the ground, but DDZ's there. There's going to be a Ravage to follow it. BKB was already used by Lance, though. And now here comes the tide back in. DDZ doing good damage from top. Will blink down. Here comes Death Prophet. Refresh, and there's going to be another Ravage that catches them both. Do they have the vision? They do. There's a gush on the DDZ, and he's going to get Abyssal. Can they focus him down? No, not quite. Still alive for the moment because he's ethereal. The physical damage from Death Ward, not enough. Same with Exorcism. Physical damage from the Ghost, however, no! Barely able to make it away. Behind him, the fight continues to rage, but he's going to make it back alive. And now Lance punishing Forev, who chased so deep. QO is going to come in, hit the smash. Marana in trouble. There's going to be a Hex from DDZ, who never went back to heal up. He's hanging around with next to no health. That's a 1,300 gold kill.
The base, though,
He's
the Mega
done.
Creeps are taking out the throne. There's nothing they can do. Furan he was just pushing this whole time. He got picked up by the Slardar buyout, but in the end,
Yep.
Mega Creeps are just too much, and GG comes out by MVP. Very well played by them. They
GG.
did everything they could. Very good game by them. Arrow played a little bit goofy, but you know what? MVP gave it their all. They really did.
Absolutely. And what a game, man. And what I was actually going to say before that last fight broke out is in a lot of ways, obviously a win's better, but if you're going to lose, I think this actually helps them a lot because they went against a team that crushed everyone, coming through just about everyone anyway. And now they come in and go, you know what? We are that good. You know, this is a game we could have won. Maybe if we just check Roshan, who knows how this plays out? Who knows how everything goes? And I think they walk away from this not happy that they lost, but maybe with a boost of confidence. You think so?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, they did all they could. And that Tidehunter, he went a kind of a strange item build. He did go for those tranquil boots and everything like that, but take a look at his last hits and take a look at his gold per minute. He was ahead of their Slardar.
That's hilarious.
It's insane. You really never see something like that on a Tidehunter compared to their short lane carry. So very well played by MVP. They fought the hell out of it. Arrow, you know, of course we've been saying a few times, they played a little bit goofy, but they ended up just picking up the slack and we're like, you know what, we need to win this game.
Well, guys, that's going to be the end of this best of three. We will have a word from Fear in a moment. Just once again, make sure you stick around. We have more action here at the SEA qualifiers coming up. I'm not sure about the times and all that, but yeah, we will have another casting team coming in. But Fear, it was actually a lot of fun bringing you in on the cast during some down moments. We got some blurbs from you about your general thoughts. But anyway, you want to cap this off? Your thoughts on this game?
I mean, I think this game was Arrows to win from like the get-go, to be honest with you. And like, I don't really get the whole Bloodstone craze on Tinker. Like, it's okay, it's a good item. He's able to suicide himself a few times, but like suiciding yourself like 5 times in a row isn't necessarily winning you the game. Like, he didn't have a Hex on that Tinker until like the very end of the game, and once he got that Hex, you started seeing them winning Tig fights. Like, Hex is one of the best items you get on Tinker. So, like, he skipped that completely until the end of the game, which is like a huge
pub build. I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, to be honest with you, DDZ for me is like, individually, he's fast. He's very fast with his skill usage. He's one of the best Tinker players and Volker players I've ever seen. He's really quick. But his item choice, he needs a little more experience, I feel. Like, as far as item choices go.
Rein it in a bit.
Yeah. So, he didn't. I don't want to say he lost them this game. I mean, obviously they won, but he didn't. He wasn't the one in particular that made this game go so long. But his item choices were very questionable. And on top of that, since they had a huge lead, the Moran as well, going Lincolns into BKB is just super passive. It's so passive. So they had such a lead. If they went for that early Deso, Manta, something like that, they didn't even need BKB at that point. If they went for these items, they could have won this game a lot earlier. But it was good, like, mental fortitude, I guess, from MVP at the same time. It's like they were holding their base for as long as they
agree with the idea that they might come out with
games.
like confidence from this?
Right. Well, to an extent. I mean, I do know some of their players. It's like they're like, for the most part, I think they're just really disappointed about like not smelling out that level 1 Roche because it was fairly obvious. Like whenever you have a Vengeful Spirit and a Nature's Prophet, you have to check Roche. So like the only thing that MVP has to do coming into the next games is just be a little more like, just as far as game knowledge goes, is just be like, know your surroundings a little better. Know that level 1 Roche could be something they could do, and they had the lineup that could have stopped it. They could have easily stopped that level 1 Roche. So if they were able to scout that out, this would have been a totally different game, I feel.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say
100%. Honestly, like looking at the level 1 lineups, look at what MVP has. They have, I mean, Death Prophet obviously not the best level 1 hero. Witch Doctor, Cask is pretty good. Slaughter amazing. Treant amazing. Tidehunter also very, very strong. And looking at the heroes that Arrow has, if once they dedicate themselves to that Roshan, you know what spells they're gonna have. They have the Treants, of course. I mean, Furin always gets Treants, but Venge gets that Wave of Terror. Chen doesn't really do anything. He just stands there and right clicks. But yeah, you can just walk in and you can really contest him so well. You have AoE stuns, you have AoE like reduction of damage from the Tidehunter if he
Right.
decides to go that instead of the Gush. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what Fury was saying. If they ended up sniffing out that Roshan and they went in there, they could have. This game was probably completely an MVP's
Yeah, I
favorite.
feel like that's a little bit of an amateur mistake by
Yeah.
them.
Well, amateur mistakes or whatever the case might be. Fact is, Arrow's going to move on, and they have guaranteed themselves a chance to play in Seattle. They are awaiting the winner of our lower bracket. We still have the whole lower bracket to go through. That will be our second best of 3 coming up here just in a few minutes. But yeah, congratulations to Arrow.
Yeah.
Very well
played.
earned and very well won. Make sure you follow all of us on Twitter, by the way. I'm at AC, at AYESEE. You are?
At
Fog Dota.
And you are?
Fear Dota.
There you go. Make sure you check us all out and don't go anywhere as we have our second best of 3 of the night here at the North American Hub, our TI4 coverage presented by Monster Energy. Stick with us. We'll be right back.